Night drive down here last night from Chattanooga. Brandi is an ABR, CRS, GRI, and a broker, and is the team leader at Pearl & Associates in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Brandi Pearl embraces technology to help her clients accomplish their real estate goals and keeps up with the trends in the real estate industry today. In her spare time, she flips properties. If you have questions about how to do that, even in this world where foreclosures and short sales are becoming a thing of the past, you need to talk to her on lunch or on the break. And she spends time with her adorable and amazing daughter, Vivian. So please welcome Brandi Pearl. She's going to talk to you today about team building. She went from being a solo agent to running a very successful team, and she has a lot of great information to share with you today.
All right, good morning, guys. Hope you're all doing well. It's a fabulous morning. Just kind of what we're going to cover. We're going to talk about, when you should hire, can you afford to hire, who to hire first and second. And then a lot of people, once they hire, well, how do I know I meet the right person? How do I hire the right person? Okay, well, there's 100 days on your hires. Just because you're hiring and you're spending, their salary, $30,000, you're not spending $30,000 at once. You're not spending $50,000, whatever your salary is. You're chunking it down. So we're going to talk about 100 days of hires, where to find your hires, and basically the systems to keep it all in place. So a little bit about me. Like Mara said, I was on a very successful team. In, I believe, 2010, we ranked in the top 250 teams in the country, and I'm right up the road in Chattanooga. We did approximately 225, 230 transactions a year, somewhere in that ballpark. I worked as a buyer's agent on the team, and I averaged between 50 and 60 houses a year is what I sold as a buyer's agent. I started with them right when I started in real estate, and I picked a team because I'm not from Chattanooga, and I figured it was the quickest way that I could get my business up and running and going. And then I stayed with them I was with them for 6 years, and basically I outgrew their team. They did not have a place that I could continue to grow and continue to expand. I probably would have stayed with them. And that's something to consider as you are thinking about possibly growing your team. Or if you're like, I don't even want to think about a team. We can talk about other aspects. If you want to continue being a solo agent, it's not just about having hires under you, but you can leverage out parts of your business. So you don't necessarily have to have your own team to do that. You can leverage aspects out. So I outgrew their team, and that's why I went out on my own. People had been telling me for years, literally 2 to 3 years, Brandi, why do you work here? Why are you still here? And I'm like, because I like it. I'm extremely loyal, and I liked them. But when I realized I couldn't reach and continue to expand, it didn't make sense anymore. So as you're thinking about, I want to hire people, I want to just keep that in mind. What opportunities are you continuing to create for these people? Or are they going to reach a ceiling and go, you know what, I need to go somewhere else? So kind of when to hire. There is actually a proven system. I happen to be with Keller Williams, but that doesn't mean all of this stuff is from there. But they actually, Gary Keller, in his book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, talks about when you should hire. There is a process. You get leads, you get listings, then you get leverage. You could do it the other way around. You could go from the bottom up. You could take a pile of money, $100,000 probably, hire a bunch of leverage, buy leads, aka the listings, the leads to get the listings. But the traditional model is once you have the leads that fuel the listings, that fuel your leverage. And then you just keep repeating that, rinse and repeat. When to hire. So a friend of mine in Virginia, this is her breakdown of when she feels that she should hire. Every 4 closings a month, she has a staff person. Now keep in mind that it's based on your average sales price too. Her average sales price is a lot higher. So therefore, this is her breakdown of what she wanted her team to look like. So for every 4 closings, she has a team leader and admin. Then when she got to a 6 closings, she added a part-time, a buyer's agent. 8 closings, 10 closings, etc. Her thought was, if I'm working more than 45 hours a week in my business, I'm actually being greedy. I'm being greedy with my time. I'm being greedy with my money. I'm being greedy with myself. I'm not allowing myself to have downtime. I'm not allowing my life to have downtime. I'm not spending time with my family. So I'm actually hurting everyone by not having these leverage in place. So that was when she realized that, wait a second, this is not about making all this money to keep. What about my quality of life? And that's what got her into it. And that's what she thought. You know, and then it allows you to focus on, again, your top 20%. And this is another team. This guy is out of Detroit, and he actually sold 600 houses last year in Detroit. His average sales price is $122,000. This is his hiring stages. And this is kind of what I've gone through. So I started my team 2 years ago when I quit my previous team. And I did about 40 transactions on my own and realized there's no way, I can't do this anymore. I have a 2-year-old, as Mara said, and having a 2-year-old running this, I couldn't do it. So my first hire was a part-time assistant. And my goal was to get her full-time, so I did it right at 35 transactions. So this is kind of how he breaks it down. I'm actually in that second hire, third hire stage myself. My second hire was a buyer's agent / part-time assistant. And she's transitioning to a full-time buyer's agent, and then I will add a part-time, another part-time assistant and transition into an inside sales agent. For those of you who are not familiar what an inside sales agent is, it's basically like your telemarketer for your business. So my first job ever was selling credit cards over the phone. I was one of those horrible people that would call you at dinner time, the screen, the name popped up, yes, is Mr. Kowalski available? You know, you totally butcher it. That's pretty much what your inside sales agent is doing, except they're calling your expired leads, they're calling your database, they're calling your sphere. So, and that's where you're gonna see some major explosive growth is when if you decide to look into hiring one of the inside sales agents. Obviously, that's part of the lead generation and lead generation for yourself, and you may want to leverage that out to someone else. Who to hire? Those were based on per month, correct? No, those were yearly transactions, not monthly transactions. Those were based on yearly transactions. It's always a who, all right? So when you're looking to hire, you want to make sure you're hiring, who am I hiring and who is the right person for the job? Is this someone that I'm going to hire and then I'm going to have to automatically, it's not going to work out, we're going to have to let go? Are they going to be talent? So basically what you're looking for is when you're looking to hire, you're looking for talent. And this is a pretty good breakdown of non-talent versus talent. Anybody see something there they can relate to? They maybe have non-talent and they're looking for talent, or they know they have talent. So my first hire was a full-time assistant. And like I said, she was part-time. I knew she was talent when I didn't have to tell her what to do. I knew she was talent when she took the job and she owned it and came back to me and said, Brandi, here's your Dropbox, here's your systems, this is where your file is, I submitted it, here's your contact information. I was like, yes, yes. Because you know what, I'm not good at that. I know what I'm good at, and it's not that. And if it was up to me, I would probably never get my checks on time. I mean, I know I would never get my checks on time because our office is super strict on having your paperwork together. I hate paperwork. I hate it. So that's when I knew that I had talent for the role, is they're constantly pushing me like, have you done this? Have you followed up with this? Where are you at in the job? And my admin, she owns her job. I mean, she runs it. In fact, to the point where people ask me questions, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to talk to Robin. I don't know. My voicemail even says, for faster service, please contact Robin. I mean, they will get it. And you know what, the buyer, and people think, one of the things, misconceptions in your mind is, no one can do it as good as me. They will always need me. They will always want me. They really don't. I call my buyers back. Oh, we talked to Robin. She totally handled it for us. Well, shit, why couldn't I just text me and tell me that it was done? Leveraging your business. So one of them you can look at, say you're a solo agent. And you're like, you know what, I don't want to get into growing a team. That's like too much. I don't want to deal with all that. You can leverage out transaction management. You could have just a transaction coordinator or a virtual assistant take that aspect of you. If you don't want to have buyer's agents, if you don't want to have a full-time assistant, look at that. You could leverage out client services. you could have a runner, you could have a database manager, someone that literally takes and inputs the information. You could hire someone either virtually, locally, wherever, to go into your Facebook friends and create an Excel spreadsheet to upload into your database of all of their birthdays, of all of their likes, of all of their kids' names, whatever it is, and then you have more information to keep touching with them. So you can leverage certain aspects out. It's not like you have to do this all at once. You could leverage out the video if you don't want to do video. Photography, you can leverage that out. I mean, do what you like. Now, if you like doing photography, that's one thing. I kind of did, but then I realized I don't. And then take it to another step, leveraging your life. There's housekeepers. And I was like, I'm not going to be one of those people. Those are just stuck-up people that have housekeepers. Holy cow, that's awesome. Coming home to clean clothes and not having to do it, I thought I liked laundry. I don't. Bill paying, not having, there's people that will do that for you. And it's not expensive. Lawn work, whatever it is. I don't like doing any of that. I haven't done lawn work in 10 years. I have no intention of starting. I don't want to. It really makes your life better. It does. The quality, the time I spend with my daughter, it's just her and I. I don't have to worry about all of that stuff getting done. So it's not just about building a team to help you with real estate. It's taking it over for the rest of your life and just allowing you to have some fun. Okay, so you hire these people and you're like, okay, great. I'm at this transaction amount. What do I do? Who do I hire to go forward? Guys, they do things we don't like. Things we're not good at. Things that aren't income producing. How many things are not income producing? A lot. Like out of the top 10 things you do a day, probably 2 of them are actually income producing. I mean, that's just the fact of it. Now, new hires, there can be a huge learning curve, but having a system in place to allow them to go through with it. And my system is the process to go through with it, kind of going through, this is where you would find them. So my first time full hire came from someone that worked in my industry. She worked actually at another company, but she was looking for another job. She put it out there. She told me. She said, I'm looking for somewhere else. What do you have? So network within your industry, but don't be afraid to go outside of your industry. Put out specific things that they will do. And we're going to talk about that next. Word of mouth, alliance partners. Say you have a mortgage person. They have people that are in the mortgage industry that may not want to continue on. And then compensation, that can be done however you want to structure it. You can have hourly, you can have bonuses, you can have wages, whichever way. Profit share, I know some teams actually profit share a percentage back to all of their employees. So they know right down to their cost of sale, what they'll make, what the actual profit of the business is. At the end of the month, they're getting a bonus not based on transactions, but literally based on the profitability of the team. Kind of the same thing with the buyer's agent. The big thing I would say with a buyer's agent is you're looking for a team player. You're looking for someone who wants the security aspect, and that's extremely important to them. Kind of some of their duties, basically what you guys are doing now. So with my buyer's agent right now, I've really leveraged the showing aspect of it. I've been in business 9 years. In 9 years, you can see a lot of houses. I realized I honestly don't need to see every single house to still sell it. It's okay. That aspect of it, I can get the gist and go through and still negotiate out the deal. So with my new buyer's agent, she's showing 10 to 15 houses, and it's okay that I'm not seeing them, but still able to negotiate out the contract. So kind of what they will do. This is my first 100 days. So I have it broken down into, now again, I'm with Keller Williams, so there's pretty specific items that I want them to go through and learn. But it's broken down into their website, what they're gonna read, what they're not gonna read, what they're gonna go through, and they bring that to me, and we meet weekly to go through that. Like, have you done this? Have you completed this? Where are you at? Kind of some systems to keep it together. As far as the team, I currently use Dropbox. However, and that has allowed me to access all of our files and keep that all together. There's been some security issues with that. So I've heard Box.com is better for security. So that's another file sharing as well. Evernote, great content. Google Drive. And then, of course, your CRM, whatever your CRM is that you use it. Whatever it is. Have your people go through there, and as Christy said, have it talk to you. I find that's very, very critical. This is another tracking method for the buyer's agent. So I want to know how many, this particular one is actually out of Charlotte. This is a group out of Charlotte, and this is what he tracks. His buyer's agents give this to him weekly, and they break down how many contacts they made, how many appointments they went through, where they came through. They are required to lead generate even though they are on the team. It's not just handing leads to your team. It's they are bringing something into your team, and you are keeping them accountable. This is your system to keep them accountable. And then also you can break it down into a 1-3-5. So what is their big goal? What are the 3 goals to achieve those goals? And what are their 5 strategies to get them there? Again, within the team, you are keeping them accountable to you to keep it on their goal to help them. It's a win-win situation. And so, in summary, just define your challenges, set realistic expectations, and keep your eye on the goal. Just continue to work on to mastery. All right, any questions? I use Smartsheets. Which is an online tracking, and I'm currently looking into Brevity, B-R-I-V-I-T-Y, and I have used something as basic as Wise Agent. So they're all in there, but right now we're currently using Smartsheets. Any other questions? Awesome.